Welcome to a little snippet edition of The Vulnerable Viking. And, I am a huge fan. He's got three first names, William George Jordan. And he wrote in the late 1800s and the early 1900s, like a long time ago, about a lot of things. One of the things I wanted to share today was the power of personal influence. Now, I read this years and years ago, and I am very fortunate to be able to have people that will come up to me because of either law enforcement career or teaching career or whatever influences. And this always holds true. And what I try and do is I always try and help people understand in some of my social media posts how amazing our personal influence is and to reach out to somebody every day. If you guys know, we reach out every day and motivate people to tell them how much they mean to us, or hi, how you doing? Just hey, I've been thinking about you type of things. And it goes along with this because the only time that, well, these people don't hear it if they passed away or they're dead, but they should hear good things about how they've influenced people throughout their lives. So what I'm saying is, it's about self-mastery. It's about personal influence. But I'm going to read a little bit on this. And so this is from The Power of Personal Influence, comes from the self-control. This was written in 1905. So I'll start by saying, by this, quote, "The only responsibility that a man cannot evade in his life is the one he thinks of least, his personal influence. Man's conscious influence when he is on dress parade." Now, some of these words are going to be really old, but dress parade obviously is out in the public. "When he is posing to impress those around him, is woefully small. But his unconscious influence, the silent, subtle radiation of his personality, the effect of his words and acts, the trifles he never considers, is tremendous." Now remember, this can be very much adapted to women as well. Obviously, it's the art of manliness, but women have this same power of influence. He goes on and says, "Every moment of life, he is changing to a degree the life of the whole world. Every man has an atmosphere which is affecting each other. So silent, unconsciously is this influence working that many men forget that exists." So this first paragraph, he talks about how we don't realize how much we affect people just by mere acts or just by how we act and react with people. And we don't normally get to hear that from everybody. And so my point today was to reinforce to everybody out there how much influence you not only have over your kids, but other people that come into your life, whether it's business, public, private, whatever else it is. He goes on, "All the forces of nature, heat, light, electricity, and gravitation, are silent and invisible. We never see them. We only know that they exist by seeing the effects they produce," kind of like us. "In all nature, the wonders of the seen are dwarfed into insignificance when compared with the majesty and glory of the unseen. Into the hands of every individual is given a marvelous power for good or evil." Now, if you think about that, it's very true. "The silent, unconscious, unseen influence of his or her life. This is simply the constant radiation of what a man really is, not what he pretends to be. Every man, by his mere living, is radiating sympathy, sorrow, morbidness, or death, or alive, or cynicism, or happiness, or hope, or any of the hundred of qualities. Life is a state of constant radiation and absorption. To exist to the radiant, to exist is to be the recipient of radiations." So the radiations that we give off. Point hopefully taken. I don't want to, there's much more to this. Let me drop down. This is an essay, of course. Let me drop down to a point where, and we'll reference this. I'll reference this. I'll start here. "To make our influence," so I've dropped down and I quote, "to make our influence felt, we must live our faith, we must practice what we believe. A magnet does not attract iron as iron. It must first convert the iron into another magnet before it can attract. It's useless for a parent to try and teach gentleness to a child when she herself is cross and irritable, which makes sense. Things change. We change. The child who is told to be truthful and who hears a parent lie cleverly to escape some little social unpleasantry is not going to cling very zealously to truth. The parent's words say, don't lie. The influence of the parent's life says, don't lie. And he finishes up with this paragraph. And remember that, again, this is about personal influence that we unconsciously don't realize, but we should anytime that we're in life, that we do influence positively and we influence negatively. He finishes up with this paragraph. No man can ever isolate himself to evade this constant power of influence. As no single corpuscle can rebel and escape from the general course of the blood, no individual is so insignificant as to be without influence. The changes in our varying moods are all recorded in the delicate barometers of the lives of others. Think about it. Are you okay? Are you in a good mood? Do you feel good? How do you feel? You know, we're constantly, if somebody's not their self, we're constantly doing those kinds of things. I think it's pretty funny. We should ever let our influence filter through, I'm sorry, human love and sympathy. We should not be merely an influence. Sorry. We should be an inspiration. By our very presence, we should be a tower of strength to the hungering human souls around us. Now that essay is quite long. I just picked a few little things out of it. But don't forget your personal influence. Don't forget how woefully small we think it is and how amazing it can be to the world. Again, it could be an opening a door. It could be a smile. It could be a handshake. It could be, hey, how are you? And actually listen to what's going on. Or it could be an example of a life that's well lived and a good example. So take that in. William George Jordan and his essay, and I'll throw the name of that and some other ones out as we go on.